2024, we got the release of Persona 3 Reload, which was a remake of 2006's Persona 3. And in its first week of releasing, the game sold around about 1 million copies worldwide. Damn! Which makes Persona 3 Reload the fastest selling and most popular title to ever come out of the Persona franchise thus far. But why is that? Well, my dear viewers, allow me, Tokume, a relatively new fan to the Persona franchise, to take a deep dive into the game, identifying both its pros and cons, as well as giving my rating for the game at the end of the video. Now, before the actual video begins, I would just like to put a disclaimer that this video does contain a lot of spoilers for the game itself, so if you haven't played Reload or any other versions of Persona 3, then I do recommend clicking off this video and go playing the games yourselves. But if you don't care about spoilers, or if you played Reload already, then please sit back, relax, and enjoy my review of Persona 3 Reload. First up, let's take a look at the gameplay. When it comes down to the modern Persona formula, there's two sides of the same coin when it comes to gameplay. One half of the game being a slice of life social simulator, where we get to hang out with our confidants that we make throughout the game, and unlock some new personas that we won't be able to get unless we max out their confidants, as well as going to other places around Azumi Port Island, ranking up our social stats. The other side of the coin being Tartarus, which only appears during the Dark Hour, a mysterious 25th hour that nobody aside from the main cast and some other characters from the main story know about. And the main objective is to climb up to the very top and face down Nyx, who is basically the bringer of death. And this is where the biggest problem for me for Persona 3 Reload comes in. The exploration aspect of Tartarus. Now, I'm not going to exaggerate when I say this, but the amount of flaws that Tartarus has is 264 flaws.
You serious?
Yes, very. Now, in fairness, in terms of each section having a different theme, that works, but in terms of how repetitive the exploration can be at times, yeah, I feel like Tartarus in each section should have had a bit more stuff going on instead of it being the same different corridors every day. But again, in fairness, that was also a problem within the original Persona 3, Persona 3 Fez, and Persona 3 Portable, so I'll let Reload slide just this one time, but I do wish Persona 3 Reload had a bit more variety in terms of the gimmicks of each section of Tartarus. But when it comes to the combat, this is where the game really shines. Every party member, including yourself, has a variety of physical and magical attacks. For the magical attacks, they range from fire, electricity, ice, light, dark, and so on. And each attack costs a certain amount of HP and SP. Physical attacks, depending on which ones you're using, will take away some of your health. Same thing with magic, but this time it will take away your stamina. And in terms of my favorite mechanic in terms of the combat system in this game, it's definitely gonna be the Theurgy attacks. They allow you to do significant amount of damage to each enemy you encounter, whether it's a boss fight or just a regular enemy, whilst not actually taking away your SP or HP at the same time, which is kinda cool.
More like Stupe, ace defective.
Now, time for the story and characters. Let's start off with the characters, since there's quite a lot within the main cast alone, so I'll try to speedrun them as fast as I can. First, we've got Makoto Yuki, the mostly silent protagonist that you control throughout the game. He is a very good protagonist in my opinion. Probably not as cool as Ren from Persona 5, but he is definitely up there, especially with what he does at the end of the game where he finally confronts Nyx personally and sacrifices himself to escape the Earth's fate of being destroyed. Oh, and that final scene up a rooftop, man, that almost made me cry. Next up is Yukari Takeba. Now, admittedly, when I first saw her, I didn't really have anything to say about her at first, but as the game went on, I really clicked with her, especially when it comes down to the scene where Mitsuru and Yukari talk to each other during the school trip. Next up is the ace detective himself, Junpei Iori. Now, I'm just gonna get straight to the point. Junpei is one of the GOATs. He's probably my second favorite character of the entire cast, especially when it comes down to this side plot with him and Chidori, which I won't dare spoil. Next up, the boxer, Akihiko Sanada. Now, this may be a controversial opinion to a lot of you, but I didn't really like Akihiko at first. But as the game went on, I definitely grew to like him a lot more over the course of the story, and he does get some great moments to shine, especially with a certain character that's going to be coming up later on. But yeah, overall, I love Akihiko. Now it's time for the student council president, Mitsuru Kirijo. Now, aside from her looks, she is definitely a well-written character, and she definitely feels like the character with the most burden being put on her. Ever since her father's death halfway through the game, she's been put onto the task of taking over the Kirijo group, who essentially started the Dark Hour in the first place. Next up is the Seas Navigator, Fuka Yamagishi. Now, just like Yukari from earlier, I didn't really have anything to say about Fuka at first, but as we learned about her backstory, she definitely became a bit more of an interesting character. I just wished that, in terms of the main story anyway, that Fuka had a bit more to do outside of being the navigator for the team. Overall, she's fine. Next up is Aikis, and she's definitely a top 3 character for sure within the main cast, and it's all down because of her importance within the main narrative itself. Without her, Makoto Yuki wouldn't be able to join Seas in the first place a decade later. So yeah, Aikis is definitely one of my favorites. Next up is the lovable dog Koromaru, and all I can say about him is he needs to be protected at all costs. He is so goddamn cute, and he's the most loyal dog you'll ever meet. Oh my god. Second to last is Kanamada. Just like Fuka and Yukari before, I didn't really have anything much to say about Ken at first, but as we learn about his backstory, it really hits you hard. And that backstory is kind of related to the next character, and that is Shinjiro Aragaki, my personal favorite character of Persona 3 Reload. His character arc alone may be my favorite section of the game in general, as we later learn that Shinjiro was actually the person that killed Ken's mother, and in an act to repay for his sins, he decides to sacrifice himself as he gets shot by Takaya, one of the Strega members. And in his dying breath, he gives some advice to Ken, which gives Ken the motivation to keep fighting, not only for his mother's sake, but for his sake too, which, goddamn, kinda broke me a little, almost to the point of tears again, like, oh my god. And that is why, out of the main Persona 3 cast, Shinjiro Aragaki is my personal favorite. And after that extremely longer than I thought character analysis, now it's time for me to explore the story of Persona 3 as well as taking a look at its themes. In summary, a high school transfer student named Makoto Yuki transfers to Gekkoukan High School. Whilst getting acquainted to his new school life, he soon discovers a mysterious 25th hour called the Dark Hour. And after that, he soon gains the ability to summon multiple personas, and it's because of his powers that he decides to join the specialized extracurricular execution squad, or SEAS for short, to investigate the mysterious shadows that keep popping up during a full moon, as well as fighting for his friends that he makes along the way. But ultimately, at the end, he will have to face a fate that will leave a lasting mark, not just for his friends or even Japan, but the entire world itself. I love the story of this game, especially when it comes down to the slower pace that it has compared to Persona 5, for example. This game allows you to breathe, allows you to get to know the characters a bit better, to get to know the world of this game a bit better, and in terms of the constant themes of death and grief, they are, in my opinion at least, very well handled. Overall, I find the story and the themes of Persona 3 very compelling.
I am an ace detective.
And now we have reached the climax of this video, my final thoughts of Persona 3 Reload. So what do I think of the game overall? Well, to put it bluntly, I love this game. It's definitely up there for me for being one of my favourite games of all time. And yes, I know it's a bit of a bold statement to say that, but I truly do mean that. It has a very likable cast of characters. The soundtrack for the game? Oh god, I forgot about the soundtrack. While a lot of the songs in the game are remixes of the originals, I do think the remixes live up to their original counterparts quite well. And in terms of the newer songs, they're bangers. Now, yes, the game isn't all perfect. I do think some of the Tartarus aspects could have been improved somewhat. And yes, I do understand that the slower pace of the storytelling might not be for everyone post Persona 5. But aside from those, I'm going to give Persona 3 Reload a 9 out of 10. If you want to start your Persona journey and you don't know which entry to go for as your first, I'd personally recommend Persona 3 Reload. It's a relatively recent game that released, as of the making of this video anyway, and it's just a very enjoyable experience all the way through when you actually sit down and play the game. And to sum everything up in one sentence, it's a very enjoyable game. Go play it if you haven't already. And that just about concludes my video on Persona 3 Reload. What do you think of it? Do you think Persona 3 Reload is good like myself? Is it bad in your opinion? Or have you never played the game before and you're wanting to give it a go? Please do let me know in the comment section down below. And as always guys, be sure to like, subscribe, share the video around so this video gets a bit of attention. And without further ado, I shall end the video here. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall see you next time for another video. Bye!